screen. And that's not what I want. This is it. Okay. So, welcome everybody. Hey, Crypto Zach, Bear, Zepti, yes. Welcome everybody.
Hey everyone.
How's everybody doing?
Great. It's a bit late in here, but it's cool. I'm here with Sam, watching the optimism airdrop.
Oh, nice. I've never actually met Sam before, so hey, Sam.
Oh,
Thank you for all.
he's in the kitchen right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Nice. I was wondering what airdrop that was. Earn.fi told me I had an airdrop, and it didn't tell me what token it was coming from. So I'm literally researching crypto airdrops right now, trying to figure it out. But yeah, I'll check out Optimism. Thanks.
Cool. Hey, yes, welcome. And Bear, welcome.
Hi guys, good to see you all again. A little late here, had a long day, so might not be on my best, but the topic always makes me excited, so let's do it.
That's good. What time is it there?
It's 10:05 p.m.
Oh yeah, that's late. Okay. And Rex, it's late for you too.
Yes, I think it's one of 2 days in the year where it's 9 p.m. and it's not completely dark, right?
Yeah, good. I love that. Well, hey, let's jump in. I'm sure we've got some more folks coming, but we now have this new Sampo mission, and actually, yes, would you do us the favor of reading that for us? Can you see it? Yeah, okay.
The Sampo working group develops and grows the value of the economic layer of the token engineering commons. It aligns this microeconomy with the TEC mission and the collective success and individual benefits of its token holders.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and I just was working also on like a little tagline that just kind of shrunk that down to Sampo grows the economic layer of the token engineering commons. So we can try that out, see how that feels for us over time. I don't feel like doing like a feedback thing right now because we gotta keep moving. Okay, so my check-in question for everybody would be, how are you feeling right now about the TEC's economic prospects? And let's start, Zeptimus, let's start with you.
I mean, I feel like there is a lot of unknown, like we don't fully know like the reward system. It's like, with draining the common pool. But at the same time, it's like, it's an exciting moment. Like I think you said that, but it's like if we overcome this, like then we can replicate it for, 1 million times. And it's, you pass the game, yeah, it's an exciting moment. Like I know it's difficult right now, but if we succeed in this journey, it's going to be awesome. I'm in this life, like a lot of uncertainty, but at the same time, exciting moments. I'll pass it to Rex.
Sure. I think ultimately we may need to kind of find like large grants or sort of that side of things to keep us going for a little bit longer before we can expand our revenue streams to become sustainable. But I don't think it's doom and despair just yet. And I'll pass it to Griff.
All I heard was doom and despair. Wait, what's going on?
The check-in prompt is, how are you feeling about the TEC's economic prospects right now?
I feel great. I mean, I guess from my perspective, I've been in the blockchain for good space since its existence, since it ever existed, since like 2016. And the TEC has more money in the bank than any organization I've ever worked with. So, like, I'm not like, I'm not in this, I'm not part of this camp that's like, oh my God, impending doom. I'm like, oh my God, we have so much money. I don't know, it doesn't mean we should just spend it. It's nice to have a budget in these things, but in no way I mean, if we have 700K in the bank, name another blockchain for good project that has. Like really, like Gitcoin, that's about it. Even Giveth, we have our token, but I think TC has a lot better financial prospects than we do, honestly, because we have our token, but then we just degrade our viability if we can't sell the token because of legal reasons, and we can't really, we don't have that much money. We can pay contributors and watch the value of the token crash as we pay contributors. You guys, EC actually has 700K in the bank of like dollar pegged currency. That's really nice. I'll pass it back to you, Gideon.
Okay, let's see. Got to go back to the screen. So Nate, hey, welcome. I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about it. I think that we just have to set a strategy and stick to it, and just keep working at it. Build utility for the token, and I think we'll be fine.
Okay, so let's see. Pass it to Bear.
Yeah, thank you, Gideon. Yeah, I think I'm also really optimistic and excited. I think with all the challenges that we're facing comes like great opportunities. So that's kind of like the way I see it. That we're in a moment and in a space just full of opportunities and space to try new things and experiment. So I think that's super valuable and super, yeah, kind of like what Griff was saying. I don't think like a lot of organizations have this capability, this financial capability, and also the freedom to choose what they wanna do with that. So I think that's great. I'll just pass it to CryptoZach.
Hey, I'm also optimistic, especially today due to the airdrop. Just kidding. But I think that what we're working on is the cutting edge of DAO infrastructure here. And once we figure out the right model for long-term sustainability and funding of this DAO, then it will be replicated across the industry for many different DAOs. So that's kind of the mindset that I'm taking for this project is what we're building here could be the standard for all DAOs to use. And once we get it right, that could be what causes DAOs to be the next big thing in crypto.
Cool, thank you. Yas, do you want to go next? If you're speaking, we can't hear you. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I was having some trouble unmuting myself. Discord is super slow. I don't know what's wrong with it. So I am really on board with what everyone said, especially the CryptoZach. I was reading the mission and the proposals about TEC today on the forum, and I'm extremely optimistic about it. I really think we're also with the team that's behind the project and what we're trying to develop here on the cutting edge and setting the standard. And especially in the space, there is just so much funds and grants available that is being given to research, especially on this type of project. So good to hear from Griff that we are well funded, but what we're doing is also amazing and much needed. So I really think this can be a long-term project, and even if we need to tap into external resources, there won't be any problems.
Cool.
Should I
Wow.
pass it or
Uh,
back to you, Gideon?
Yeah. So Christopher, welcome. Great to have you here. Awesome. The prompt that we're working with is, how are you feeling right now about the TE's economic prospects?
Yeah, I think those are quite good. There are good opportunities out there, and like I described on the forum, yes, I'm excited about the idea of selling people the idea of that the best way to invest in token engineering, to support token engineering, is to invest and buy the TEC token. I think that is an exciting, simple thing that I think we can push easily, and we can look at many old organizations that have been selling in support this cause, support us financially, and will do good things, and we can steal a lot of marketing ideas from them. I'll pass it to, I didn't see who went before me, so I'll pass it back to you, Gideon.
Okay, thanks, Christopher. Actually, everybody's gone except me, and I'm really optimistic too. I'm past optimistic. I'm actually really excited. I feel like there's like some really big things that we're going to be able to do, and I do feel like, to me, I do feel like it's tight. But Griff, I haven't been in this space as long as you, and but I think we have enough room to be able to negotiate this pretty well. So. Okay, wait, sorry, just one second. I got a note from Lydia. She can't make it today, so that's okay. So we'll keep going. Okay, so one thing that we wanted to do is just some quick updates. Main thing I wanted to talk about today is the funding proposal, but just some quick updates. The strategy doc that you all provided feedback on, and went to the stewards, did a quick presentation to them on it. That's up in the forum now. That's up in the TEC forum, and we're getting some really interesting. I'll just show you this very quickly. Let's see if I can find this. Yes. Can you see this? Yeah. So this is the polls on kind of the main sentiments in that document. I just stripped out like 23 of the main points in there, and you can see kind of the spread. So over here is where everything is in alignment. There's like a lot of consensus, and then over here, these are more like divisive statements. So you can see, this is not the right one. Hold on, sorry, just 1 second. I don't know if I really worth doing this. Yeah, okay, let me just do it real quick. So you can see, same thing. These are the more divisive statements are over here. The TEC's end users have yet to show up because we have not yet built the services needed to attract them. So that was kind of a split statement there, where there was like 100% agreement is expertise in token engineering will ultimately prove to be the primary form of capital that the TEC will inevitably need to serve our mission. Expertise in token, let's see, sorry. Come on, update. Economies develop over time, and the TEC microeconomy will develop in 3 phases: economic security, economic momentum, economic abundance. Anyway, if you want, I can share this, but I'll show you kind of like where people's sentiment is on the kind of the core points of that strategy. And I just love getting this kind of feedback, man. I think this takes the advice process to kind of the next level. So that is cool. Okay, the second thing is, Rex has been just cranking on trying to get a look at like basically a unified treasury report, where it's like not just looking at our common pool and how that, like the spend down on that is looking, but actually looking at like taking a look at all of the wallets and doing a unified look. And let me just see if I can get to that report. Not it. This is it. Can you all see that? So there's still some things that we're working through, like the laser tag is not showing up correctly because this is an XDI report, and those funds are not XDI. There's other things that it's in right now, but you can kind of get a sense for like the overall, the movement, and then the proportions and where the money is. We're still trying to figure out a good way to. You can see that there's some scale issues here, like the working groups kind of get drowned out in
On that one, Gideon, if you click on the labels on the right, if you click on common reserve and common pool, they're down at the bottom. You can hide them away and see, and kind of see those.
Nice. Yeah, so we'll try to send this. I don't know. Rex is still working on it. So, but I just want to kind of show where this is going because it's nice. It's nice to have this like total picture of where all the money is, where the treasury is. So, he's going to keep working on it. But I just wanted to give a big shout out to Rex for all of what he's doing here. It's really cool, and he's just learning Dune himself, like over this last week and a half. So, hands off. I mean, hats off. And hands off. I'm not gonna take.
It's a thick SQL statement, that one. I think it's 100 and something, 130 lines. I'm bound to add another 80.
Does anybody have any feedback? Just quick feedback for right now, like things that you notice in this, or things that we might want to like change or add to this.
You're muted, Gideon. You're still muted.
Thank you. I was just saying that, if you have feedback, please feel free to just ping Rex or me, but I would say Rex is probably the better person if you've got some ideas. Okay?
Where's the link to this?
I'll put it, Rex, do you want to just put it in the sample analyst thread? You're muted, but I'm assuming you're saying okay. Okay. Okay, so
I also think when those queries are done, and if we like them, we could also add them to the main tune.
Absolutely.
Should we consider some of the funds like the NumPy multisig or Omega, the consonance library, like some of the other things that we passed, like where do we draw the line between like what is spent and what is like part of our treasury?
Yeah, that's a really, I don't know enough about the NumPy project, so Omega feels like that's being housed in the TDC. No?
Yeah, definitely.
So that feels like that would be something that we maybe keep inside here, but NumPy feels like that's more of an external project. Does that seem like a...
In the audit, what I did was like consider treasury, whatever is governed by the DAO. Transparency funds is not DAO money because it's a multi-sig it's held by me and Ivy. It's not like the DAO can decide how to use these funds. Technically, probably yes, but it's like, otherwise, like in reality, yes, but, at the end of the day, it's like a multi-sig. So, I was considering like DAO treasury, like laser tag funds, common pool, reserve in in exclamations, like it's to peg the token, and then the Gitcoin money that it's at some point also going to the common pool. And then then working groups have like their own treasury, and then proposals like also like have like their money. It's not TC money anymore. Like the moment that leaves the common pool, in my opinion, is not TC money anymore because TC tokens are not controlling it.
Okay, so this is a conversation I think we're going to have. So
I think there's value in looking at both because looking at the working group's money and how they spend it gives us a projection into how much more money they're going to take out of the common pool, right? Because the first set of proposals, we can kind of see they've taken like, I want to say like 50% or more than what they actually needed for this set of funds. So just looking at the common pool gives a very much dire situation where we've gone from 1 million to 700 in 3 months, right? So by that extent, like just linear extrapolation, we've run through all the funds in 10 months, whereas in reality that isn't the case. So I think when we do this, we're going to need to look at both when we analyze this further and produce some sort of report or analysis.
Yeah, okay, so we're not going to resolve this today, but let's come back to it. I didn't even think about that, so that's a really good question about like where we draw those lines. So we'll come back to it. And in fact, actually, what we'll do is maybe just put together just like a very short, like a couple paragraphs. Is like, oh, here's one way of splitting this. Do we all agree? And if not, how would we change? Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. But to your question, to your point, Zepti, absolutely. I mean, we're kind of viewing that the work that Rex is doing is if there's stuff that's useful, then absolutely we just basically hand it over to the main Dune dashboard. So
yeah.
Okay, so next topic, and this is the main topic. Let me scoot down so everybody can see that. So this is getting us into the funding proposal for Sampo, and this is a 3-month funding proposal. Before we get into these deliverables, the deliverables really kind of drive a lot of the assumptions. So I want to talk about that, and then I'll turn to like the budgeting items. But first thing I just want to touch on is kind of the philosophy behind this budget. Tried to really go lean and keep this so that we're not like having a whole bunch of people kind of employed by this working group over time, and really just focus the people who are here mostly on coordination. And the idea being that what are we coordinating? Coordinating some bounties, some work on that are bounties-based compensation, and then also volunteer work. And the volunteer work, we're hoping to be able to actually compensate so that it's not just complete sacrifice, but we're doing a little bit of an experiment. And I haven't really talked about that in this group yet, so I wanted to just touch on that. And Christopher may have some thoughts to add on this too. So as probably most of you know, we have this really cool reward system in the TEC, which is praise. And so, you basically, I mean, I think everybody knows praise here, right? If you don't know praise and you want me to just like do a quick recap, just flash your mic. Okay, so, wait, Nate, are you flashing your mic?
No, I'm just playing. Keep going.
Okay. So the idea that we're going to experiment with is basically just using the same praise system that the rest of the community uses, but actually making the praise statements in Sampo, in the Sampo channel in Discord. Okay, and so the rewards crew was like creative enough. Actually, I credit Livia for the idea of doing it in the praise channel in the Sampo channel in Discord, because she remembered somebody saying that actually that was data that was being tracked. And so if we do our praise in the Sampo channel, then what we can do is just use the regular praise system, and then have Christopher and crew at the end of the month basically do a data dump to us, and then we go back in and we take those Sampo praises, and then we do our own analysis on that. And what I'm trying to do is just set aside a little bit of budget for us to then go ahead and kind of top off what the regular praise system allocated to us, to recognize, basically to have us have the ability to recognize value that we find within Sampo, right? And then allocate it based on that. And the reason I was so keen on doing this is because volunteer contributions are going to be really important to this. Like, this is going to be a permissionless working group. People are going to be able to just show up. We'll have projects for them to do and just have them do it. And we won't even, sometimes there'll be things that we didn't even foresee people needing to do, and they'll do it anyways. And we want to be able to do retroactive, like public goods funding for that, right? So like if somebody does a great thing and we see it later, we note it, we want to be able to. So those are kind of the three components to compensation and keeping things lean. So I'm going to stop there for a second, see if people have any comments or thoughts they'd like to add.
So I have a question and conflict of interest here, but are we just going to spend like 40 to 50 hours on analysis over the next like 3 months, and then the rest be like volunteer work? Is that kind of what you're thinking of?
So if you're looking at the analyst thing, yeah. So what I'm anticipating with that is that we're probably not, a lot of the data work is not going to be in Sampo, right? It's going to be in transparency. That's where I see it belonging, is that's where most of the data stuff is, and that we're more like I mean, we've talked about this before, but we're more like an internal customer within the DAO, asking transparency for work, and maybe doing some kind of like, just like what you're doing right now, Rex, which is like moving ahead on some things that we really want to get quickly.
Yeah.
So just being very careful about those.
Okay.
And there's enough, hopefully, in the Sampo praise to help top off things like that, so that if we're not getting enough, that's kind of our slush fund to be able to move some things around.
Okay. I see. Okay.
But I will say that, how do I say this? I feel like the next 3 months, this group is going to be pushing pretty hard. And we'll probably be making contributions that go way beyond what we're being compensated. That's just, I think that's kind of where we're at right now. And I'm feeling like there's like a sense of kind of drive here and mission and kind of the importance of what we're trying to do. And I think that we'll get into this, what the plan is, but I'm hoping that part of what our compensation, or kind of what helps us here, is more the intrinsic power of what we're kind of this audacious plan that we're setting out to do over this next 6 months. But, I understand that people have to be able to justify some of this time. So I'm trying to get the right balance here. And that's part of why I'm going to you all right now, coming to you to kind of like get some feedback on this. Is this too lean? Is this realistic? And I appreciate you speaking up on that, though, Rex. Thank you. Okay, let's dive into the actual work and then focus on that and see if that's the first thing that I'm really focused on, is is this is a lot to do in just 3 months. I mean, 3 months time goes by very quickly. I mean, it's easy to put stuff on paper, but so let's look at this. So really, there's just like I'm going to go to the actual. This is the actual plan. So it's basically saying there's 3 core areas. One is on the TC spending, just basically like slowing the spending, but mostly increasing the impact of the spending. And that's kind of what we've been focused on to date. And in a way, this budget is kind of like leading by example culturally. Then the other is developing income generating services. And then the third is actual fundraising. And so this then breaks out, this accountability piece then breaks out those kind of buckets into some timelines. So I'm just going to read these out loud for right now. So basically, working with Transparency Working Group to build real-time snapshot of the TC treasures. That's what Rex is doing right now. So we're in pretty good shape on that one. Deliver a community-vetted plan to reduce and boost impact of TC spending. That's some of the analysis that we've done already, and kind of like some of the stuff that I was doing with the stewards, which was getting opinions on how we should reduce spending. And there's probably a little bit more on this work too. And then the next thing, this is what I'm starting to work on, and I'll probably get some help from some other folks. And Nate, thank you for your comments already on that. This is basically a plan for connecting with existing token holders to make sure that they are still with us and that they continue to have confidence in where we're going. And then the next one is working with Comms Working Group and others to pull together some plans for a first fundraising campaign. And then this is the most aggressive one, which is roll out our first minimum viable service, most likely on a matchmaking, to bring together token engineering consultants with clients who are coming to, prospective clients who are coming to the TC looking for consultants. So can we get all this done by July 15th? That's the first question.
Looks doable, but it needs to be pushed like hard. Especially like the last one.
Can you say that last part? You're saying it's going to be hard. It's going to be pushing it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like I mean, like these milestones are doable. Like I feel they can be accomplished for sure. But yeah, like work needs to start ASAP.
Other thoughts, folks?
I think it depends on how some of the scope of the deliverables, like delivering a plan and distributing it and talking to people about it. Like delivering, like here's a forum post, I'm walking away. That's very easy to do. Having advice process and all that stuff adds a lot of extra bandwidth requirements, right? And so, like, I think it would be fair to try to cut out some of this, or like see if you can push one of them down or something, and then for sure I think it would work out. Just because I think there's going to be a lot of extra scope that is not really thought about.
Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on which one of these? And this is to you, Griff, but also to anybody. Are there any of these first items that you all look at and go like, this could wait?
I feel like delivering a community vetted plan to reduce and boost the impact of TEC spending it's already happened without the plan, right? The cultural, like all the stewards have this on their mind, and I don't necessarily think it's going to have like the effort required would have the impact of the other four, especially the rollout the TEC's first minimum viable service, like as in like having that work. I feel like that's probably the most critical. And just like, you know, getting comms on fundraising is also really critical. Like we have a project on Giveth now, and it can donate. You can, if someone donates to it, they get 75% back in give tokens streamed over the course of 5 years. You know, so that's a pretty nice sell. Best donation option anyone's ever seen. Who pays you to donate? So that's pretty sweet. And no one knows about it, so I think that's really important. Communicating high-level plans to token holders is really critical, and getting their feedback and like, you know, investor management basically is just like, that's really critical, and making sure that they're on board and would tell other people like, hey, I bought this much TEC, you should buy more. You know, if we have people saying that, that would be a really good thing. The other two are important, but it feels like foundational, like nicety, but it's not that like short-term impact.
You mean the first two?
Yeah, the first two.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Greg.
I was just going to say the bottom three are like, oh my God, yes. The top two are like, cool.
Yeah.
I'd agree. Even though I'm kind of the one doing those bits, I agree. Like especially the second one doesn't have as strict a timeline as actually having like trying to get some funds in.
Yeah, on the second one, I also want to mention you know, it's also in the mind of the stewards, but it's also, you know, how conviction voting works. So reducing the spending, it's inevitable. Like if we don't have like more income.
Okay, I think we've got some pretty good consensus on this so far. I mean, the first one, like, it's pretty much done, or it's very close to being done. The second one sounds like we've kind of already done what, you know, it's kind of natural happening already. So let's, you know, either just get rid of it or just not focus on it. Okay, let's go on to the next batch, which is launch a simple first TC utility token, basically, or utility service. I'll explain that in just 1 sec. I'm just going to go through all, well, actually, yeah, let's come back to that. Basically, advise transparency working group on unified working group spending reports, just kind of things that we would like to see. Even as I'm saying this, I can look at this and go like, yeah, this is probably not the highest priority, but develop and test framing and language for TEC's value proposition to funders. Identify and prioritize a list of potential grant makers. And let me just say that part of the reason that this next month, like that, this August month is a little bit lighter is because I think it's going to be hard to get a lot of work done in July and early August. I just feel like there's going to be a lot of people gone, but that some of these things we can keep making progress on. So, thoughts on this batch?
So you're saying the first one's 6 weeks, and from that first 6 weeks, in 4 weeks we're gonna do all of those and maybe the yellow one we've dragged down.
I think we're saying that the yellow one is kind of already on its way happening.
Okay.
And the July 15th date is just basically assuming that I mean, we're going to keep working, but we won't be funded until probably, I'm guessing June, second week of June.
Okay.
But we're going to keep doing this work. But let me just mention a little bit about this token utility service. I'm thinking all of these services are just minimum viable product, like just to kind of like get something so that we can prove to ourselves that we can do this. What I'm thinking right now, just one idea that I'm bouncing around is that basically in this Token Engineering Hall of Fame NFT project, basically, so let me stop there for a sec. That even though that comes in the third wave, let me just explain this really quickly because it ties in here potentially. So the comms crew, Acid Laser, did this really cool tweet like a week and a half ago or so that had Simon Del Rouvier, who's done a lot of cool stuff, but one of which was the augmented bonding curve. And they featured him in this tweet and said, like, look at this, he's like a token engineering superstar, right? And I was like, oh, that could be, like, we could actually pull together a collection of token engineering, like a token engineering Hall of Fame, right? And so there's a plan that I've kind of done a first draft on, and I've sent to Chewy for feedback, and Bear's actually provided feedback on it. But one of the stages in there is that there's some goals for that project, and some of them have to do with like reaching out to the token engineers who are already connected with us and maybe have drifted away a little bit. So this is to kind of strengthen those relationships, and then also reach out to the next wave of people who are not really closely connected to the TEC. And the token utility idea here would be that we do like a big push on Twitter, a big networking push to do nominations for this Hall of Fame. And that the people who get to vote are the people who have TEC, right? They basically get to vote in the token log. We would just basically do pretty much what the token prize, the common prize did for the common prize, but just do it for the Hall of Fame. And that would require that people actually own TEC tokens. So that gets us a nice little initial test of token utility. I'm going to stop here because I feel like I'm talking.
So I can always fill. I can always fill the void. The only thing to worry about is it's summer, and so August, at least for Europe, is like throwaway. And what I've seen is also like roadmaps that don't account for summer fun time are doomed for failure. So we might just want to make sure that we consider that August is likely to be like a very hard month to get a lot of work done. Yeah, of course, some work will get done. Not everyone. Americans don't do this stuff, but we work 24. We work all the time. But in Europe, man, it's like, what? August? Is that a time? No, that's a time for party. So just it might even be worth I kind of I don't remember if it was Rex or who said it, but it was like, so you're saying 4 weeks later we have these deliverables? Might be worth just saying giving a little bit of buffer.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think for sure the actual campaign itself, what I'm saying is in September, but it's a fair question whether we could even do a nomination process in the summer. I think that's a real question. A part of it depends on how extensive that is. Other thoughts? Other folks have any input or questions?
Yeah, sorry. There are some elements where I'm still catching up on with this working group, and especially in terms of scope. Because while I think I think the Hall of Fame idea is really awesome, I think it'd be really fun, bring a lot of attention, and creating utility for the token and reducing the amount of costs that are coming out of the common pool for working groups. These are really important things. But I don't know if we're kind of overlooking the common pool as like this stock variable where you have inflows and outflows and trying to are there any efforts or initiatives to actually increase the inflows to the augmented bonding curve, and whether or not we're uh, employing the right strategies, for example? Because I don't know. I've been really thinking about like the ABC and the water proposal that we established, and there's a real this bear this bear market has kind of proven that there's a really good use case to having a token just on the bonding curve and limiting the secondary markets, and that it's kind of the store of value and partnering with other value aligned organizations to get TEC in their treasuries and encourage them to use it for payments of token engineering initiatives, things like that. But I don't know if that's out of the scope of this working group or not, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I think it's bang on. It's definitely related. And I'll tell you my views on this. I would love to get takes on this. I feel like as a community right now, if I'm being really honest, we're not quite to the point where we can articulate the value of the community to our friends, to people who already understand what token engineering is. I think we do a great job of that. But I do think we would benefit from having a little bit of time, and that's why I got to think here about language and the framing, to figure out how we explain these things. I mean, these are kind of new ideas. And so in order to, I think, be successful in bringing people to our bonding curve and getting them to actually want to buy TC, I think it's going to be a little bit of work to test, kind of like come up with the language and then test that language with kind of the next wave of potential funders, or funders, I'll call them funders. And so this NFT thing was kind of like, as we're waiting to get ourselves together in terms of the way we frame our sell for the actual TEC itself, let's test out our ability to network and kind of like raise some money with another campaign, with the idea that by September, hopefully we'll be able to describe ourselves a little bit more compellingly to the broader kind of next wave of funders, which is, I think that shouldn't stop us from doing kind of smaller scale things to try to get people to the bonding curve directly. But that's the thesis. I don't know how that sits with the way you're seeing things, Nate.
No, it is. I look at it from the perspective that the ABC, this is the engine. This is what makes this all work, and that our priority should be to kind of get people to practice using the ABC, to get used to using the ABC, especially those who are value aligned already, because there's a lot of organizations that we work with on a weekly basis that still don't have TEC in their treasuries, and I think that's kind of a shame. I think that we need to do a better job of advocating the use of the TEC token within their organizations and act as this economy is a commons. This is, if we want this to work, this is you need to back it up, with your actions and put some, buy from the bonding curve, put it in your treasury and hold on to it. And if we have to, take liquidity off the secondary markets in order to do that, I think it would be worth it. But I feel like we've gotten to the point where we've moved so far ahead that making a pivot like this would be very difficult with the community. And so I'm just trying to revive that conversation and just gauge what people think.
So let's, I'm going to table that for right now because I want to get, you can actually post the proposal up, but let's come back to it. And I think the main thing is we would need somebody to help drive that. If trying to get partners. So let's come back to it, okay? Let's come back to it. I think there's something interesting.
No worries. Yeah. I didn't want to throw a wrench into this. I just, I was just throwing my thoughts out there. I'm trying to catch up with the Sampo.
Absolutely. So, and actually, we're at a stage, like this is the time to throw out alternative ideas. So, okay. So Got the point about just being careful about August. Let's go into the September one right now, just because we're getting short on time. So I've already talked about this NFT thing. There's still, by the way, lots to test on that. Like it's not an obvious thing that the TEC knows how to do NFTs. So, there's a lot we'd have to figure out in doing that. But I do think there's a lot of potential there to build some relationships and strengthen some existing relationships and potentially make.
I think it'd be nice, like for the NFT campaign, like if we could onboard Santi again. Like he even have an NFT project, and his value line, he was the steward of legal at some point. Maybe he's interested, and I think like he would make a great job. And he also have like some designers.
Yeah, that Griff mentioned the exact same thing. Yeah, I'm talking with Chewy right now, trying to get his feedback first, just because I want him, like he's going to be really important to this. But I will definitely go to Santi. Just wanted to talk to Chewy first. Yeah, I think it's great. Next thing is, and this is kind of this is like the big one, actually. It's completing research and planning for like a 2-year vision for the services, the Shelling Point service. And so the idea would be to build off of the first thing that we roll out, which is that matchmaking service. And this isn't saying get these services done, but it's like get the plan done so that we know at a high level where we're going. And the last two is like finalize the language, the framing and language for fundraising, and then actually get 2 pitches out the door. So let me stop here. Any thoughts? Back.
I think if you move everything back 15 days, I think it's very reasonable.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Okay. Okay. So maybe what we do is with this funding proposal, just stretch this funding proposal out to like 3.5 months or something. That's not like the normal way of doing it, but we could do that. Any other thoughts from people? I realize, this is a lot of these ideas you're just seeing for the first time. So like, it's going to take a little while to digest some of this stuff. But what I would ask is, I'd like to get this up. I just feel like there's some pressure right now to move forward and get the proposal up so we can actually get stuff going. So why don't we do this, just because we only have like 5 minutes left. Let's do this. Let's just go around, and if everybody can just take like 30 seconds to just give their like high level, like this doesn't seem feasible, or yeah, this looks pretty good, or like what thing that pops out is like, I'm nervous about this. And then let's use that, and then we can always come back and you guys can make comments. I'll put a link out and you guys can make comments in the document, okay? So let's kick it off. Griff, can you start?
I would love to. I think these are great plans. I mean, it's so hard to pick a priority. There's so many great things. If I had to make one suggestion, I would make grants. It's hard to pick priorities. I feel like grants are an easy win and may not be there for very much longer as time goes on. So they're like a dwindling resource. So but it's hard to prioritize that over the other 3 things that we have for July, the big 3. So I think it's a great plan, and I think it's very achievable. Also, I think that there's a strong interest in Sampo. It's the sexy new thing in the TC. And if you asked for 4 months and had an extra little bit of buffer, I don't think like it's good to stay lean, but it's also good to have buffer. So I don't think it would be the end of the. I mean, it's up to you guys how you want to do it. You could also do like have it be a 3-month thing with knowledge that after you've achieved your something in July, you're going to put up another proposal by the end of July to, finish these other ones. That might be a nice way of doing it. And just have like that last group of things of projects to be like, yeah, we plan on trying to fund these with a proposal that we make at the end of July. And I'll throw it over to. But other than that, this is a great plan, and let's see if we can execute on it. I'll throw it over to Yas.
Yeah, thanks, Griff. I'm actually of the same opinion as you said. I think grants would be quite easy to do, and as time goes by, they will be giving them away and running out. I mean, I know people who are getting grants for just launching their podcasts and doing research. So I don't know how in detail we want this proposal to be, but if we have a good idea already and we can put up like a few slides and some pagers about like what this working group is about, what we're going to do some research about, I think we could go to secure like at least up to 500,000 relatively quick with some grants out there. I know Near especially was giving away a lot. They secured quite a big chunk for research. So maybe that could be something I can help out with. But yeah, that's my initial opinion about these grants and how you guys would like to prioritize them. I'm definitely happy to help out there. I'll pass it then to Septipus.
Thank you, Jazz. Yeah, one thing I feel like it's missing is like how this working group is going to be accountable to the like, especially like if we want end up doing these tracking salaries of people. I think that's something that's missing, and every working group is doing. And yeah, overall the proposal looks great. The only thing like I'm not so sure, like it feels like the bounty money, like it feels lean, but probably too lean. I agree, like maybe having a little bit more money there would be beneficial, and then like we trust each other, and if there's some carryover, like we trust like you won't use the funds in any bad way, and it's good to have money like so people can work. And if you end up not using it because you really wanted to keep lean and you can do it being lean, it's great. But again, like having some money to, especially like for the bounties, it's beneficial so people can then you don't have like so much conflict, and then you have to do it, and do it, and this is your money, and get things done. I think it helps. Other than that, I agree with Griff. Like this is a fantastic plan, and I think like if in 3 months we accomplish all of this, this is huge. Like this is really awesome proposal. I'll pass it to Christopher.
And I'm sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Christopher, but we are at the top of that. We're just 1 minute past. So if people have to take off, no problem. Please feel free to do so. If you do want to stick around and just finish up your comments, that's great.
Okay, I'll keep it short. I'll give a +1 to the stuff Nate was proposing. Focusing, I'd like to see more focus, or I think it would be a good thing to focus also on driving traffic to the TEC token more. Focusing on stuff that makes people and organizations buy the token. I think that is to begin with. That is what I have seen as the core thing of the TC after the Commons upgrade is that the token, people buy the token funds the pool, and the pool is used for token engineering. Try to grease that machinery. I'll pass it to Bear.
Yeah, thank you, Christopher. Well, I think the proposal it's looking great. Something I would think it's also important to start discussing maybe after. It's part of this Sampo people plan. Like now, once that we have this plan and all the different deliverables, like how are we gonna build the teams working on that, or who's gonna be the people involved in the actual work? And it kind of ties with what Septi was talking about accountability and about organizing teams, right? Organizing the people and the skills that we will need and the skills that we have in the working group already. And just as another option, as an alternative for the funding, maybe we could add like an hourly wage, like define an hourly wage that we could post there and just like have it for volunteer work. I think that's kind of like a way that transparency works, and I think it's pretty efficient because you get paid for like the time that you put in. So maybe that could be and also like an alternative. And yeah, I'll just pass it to Rex.
Sure. I've kind of kept here to kind of listen to what everyone's saying more because I think you covered everything. I think the proposal's pretty strong, and I also agree that because well, I think we'd like to believe, that we're going to be extremely successful and kind of evade this the the proposals passing, getting harder and so on from our efforts. But I don't think we should bank on that in the like day one. So going lean on this one and not having any carryover, as kind of Septimus has said, I think is gonna it's not gonna, but it could hit us in the negatively at some point in time, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if Nate's spoken, so I'll pass it to Nate.
Thanks, Rex. Yeah, I think everything looks really great. I'm really excited to see the execution on these three main initiatives. I think it's going to be a really good first step to actually just get everybody working together in this working group, and just kind of get to know each other and how everybody works, and see if we can get people behind it. I think the proposal for the funding is really good. It sets a cultural expectation for other working groups, like you said. Running lean is really good. And outside of that, yeah, I think the other questions, like, we have time, I don't think we have to feel like we're rushed. I think if we just keep discussing and keep executing, I think we're going to be fine in the long run. So I think this is a really great document, Gideon. Appreciate you. I'll pass to whoever else is going. Griff, Gideon.
Yep, Griff's gone. Bear, Christopher. I think that's it. So, hey, thank you, everybody. Everybody's gone, right? Yes. Okay. Thanks, everybody, for staying a little bit late today. Sorry about that. Try not to make that a habit. If you have it, I'll post this in the channel. So if anybody has any additional comments, please feel free to make them. Thank you. Thanks. And we'll get this up and we'll get going. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Gideon.